Alrighty, YouTubers, this is Timberfall Craft, and we're going to be doing a simple, straightforward review on the Buck Marksman. I want people to watch this video before they buy the Buck Marksman, especially if they want to buy it on the secondary market. I really want people to check this video out if they've never handled one of these. I grew up with buck knives. Some of my very first knives were buck knives. The factory's not very far away from where I live, and I've always had a little soft spot for buck knives for those reasons, just because they've been around for so long. They've family members, grandpa had one, my dad had one. One of my first knives was a buck knife. I really like them. I like some of them, I should say. But let's go ahead and get some stats out of the way with this guy. So this is USA made. This is made in Idaho. This has 154 cm, and it has the Boss heat treat. If you don't know anything about Buck Knives heat treat, if they have this Boss stamp, they have a really good heat treat by Boss. And these are 58 to 60 HRC, which is a good range for this blade steel. So, like I said, if you don't know anything about Buck Knives and Boss, supposedly it's one of the best heat treats you can get on some blade steel. It's supposed to be very superior. What else we got here? We got G10 burl, black, red, whatever you want to call that color. We're working with a 3.5 inch blade. Overall length is 8.25 inches. This thing's roughly 4 ounces. You've got ball bearings in the pivot. And the lock system that this knife is using is called the SLS lock, the Strong Lock System. And this thing was designed by Grant and Gavin Hawk from Hawk Knives. So that is probably the biggest appeal of this knife, is you're getting a design by Hawk Knives at an affordable price, because usually things by them are very expensive. So you're getting a design by G&G Hawk for $185 is the price of this knife, brand new. But here's the kicker, they do not make these anymore. This is a limited run. This particular variant is a limited run of only 500 pieces. So they are no longer making these. I believe they discontinued these in 2021. I think they started them in 2016. Those years are probably not correct, but not too far away from the actual years that they stopped production, started production. This was a limited batch they just came out with a couple weeks ago, or it's probably been a month now. Not sure how long it's been. It's been about a month since this came out. And this was only had 500 pieces of this variant. It was 185 bucks plus tax and shipping. And in my opinion, this is one of Buck Knives' cooler designs. This is a really cool knife. Some of the design features of this knife. So what we have here is a really, really nice drop point blade shape. I really like this. It's got a Cerakote, tungsten Cerakote finish on it. And personally, I really, really like this blade shape. This is a really good pointy drop point shape. Very good for EDC. And if you could tell by the design of this one in particular, that it kind of looks tactical. It's got some tactical DNA in it. It's got a really strong finger guard here. It's very ergonomic. It really locks you in. The pointy blade shape is good for piercing. Very comfortable. And this lock on the back, the SLS lock, they call this a strap. And that strap gives you a nice flat area to rest your thumb when you're using this knife, and it's just super, super comfortable. So when you're looking at this knife, the first thing I noticed for me when I got this knife was using the lock. When you first get this thing, you're really not sure how to use this lock. And it doesn't really come from Buck, at least mine didn't, tuned properly, if that could be the right word. So this lock, you have nothing on the inside of this. You just have the bearings and the pivot. It's all just straight G10 until you get to this metal back spacer. And it looks like it's 2 pieces. And it comes down and it wraps around to here. And then the strap screws into that and has this little notch to keep it kind of stable. And you pull this strap back and you've got a spot on the tang on the top here that locks in like that. And then on the bottom of the tang, you have the same thing locking it closed. So you have the lock strap acting as the detent, and this knife just kind of floats willy-nilly in between the closed and open position. It's just street rolling bearings, just like that. It gives this knife kind of a weak detent. It's not the strongest detent. It's very similar to like the Benchmade Axis lock detent. It's not very good, and that's just the nature of the beast. I don't mind it too much. I've had this come open in my pocket maybe once or twice, and it both happened in a day, so I don't know if that was a fluke or not, but it hasn't happened since, and it didn't happen before then. So I'm going to write that off as a fluke maybe. But yeah, when you first get this knife, you're going to try to figure out how to use this thing, what is going to work for engaging and disengaging. So the flipper tab's in a good spot. You can really only light switch this thing. The jimping on the flipper tab is quite aggressive, and the jimping on the strap itself is also very aggressive. So when you're trying to figure out the best way to disengage this, I don't exactly have soft baby hands. My hands are pretty tough, pretty calloused from working with my hands at my job and even in my free time. They're definitely no baby hands. And trying to figure out how to disengage this was a little rough on my fingers. And it could be because I played with this for hours. You know, when I first got it, I just kept flicking it and disengaging it, and I probably did it 1,000 times in a 2-day period, and it kind of made my fingertips sore. But in that time, I figured out the best way for me to do this, and I see people doing it like this, and that works. But for me, I take my finger back here where the jimping is at the very end of it, and it disengages it really good like that, kind of similar to maybe a compression lock or something. So you got to be careful when you do this. If you bump this flipper, it won't close all the way. If you don't hold the lock all the way, the whole way in, it'll not close. And also this strap can move side to side, and if you leave this thing too loose and you disengage this, it can move to the side of, I got mine pretty tight right now, but it can slide over and then it won't close at all because the strap is blocking the flipper. It'll hit the flipper and it won't close all the way. So that's something you have to adjust for. And they put these teeny tiny little Allen heads in here for adjusting. And this one stripped out right away. I just went to go tighten it up a little bit and it stripped out. Luckily I have a really good set of pliers that are really grippy that I can tighten and loosen this with, but no effort at all to strip that out. It was really bad. Another thing is, why can't they put a captive pivot in here? I know that's not in the original design, but how hard would it be to just put a captive pivot on this knife? I don't know why, but you know, whatever. This is really simply constructed. But as far as ergonomics and the blade shape go, this is great. This is fantastic. I love this. It's super comfortable. The blade shape is super useful. For me, I really, really like that. So we're going to have a little talk about Buck knives real quick. So Buck knives have been around for a very long time, and they generally make knives like this. They're really known for their 110, 112, and their fixed blade hunting knives. This is a new version of a 112. They sport model and they upgraded it with aluminum and micarta. And generally this is like wood and brass. And they added a pocket clip and screws so you can disassemble it if you like. They even put a captive pivot on this one. So this is what they're used to. So Buck, their machines are ancient. The machines in their factory are really old, and when they want to make new stuff, they are doing all sorts of weird stuff to make jigs or just make their machines work for new stuff. And so their progress has been kind of slow updating and competing with more modern knife designs. And just recently they came out with their own crossbar lock with MagnaCut and aluminum handles, and it looks pretty awesome, and it's a very reasonable price. Buck knives for USA made knives, I believe, are a good value at $185. If G&G Hawk did this, something like this, and came up with a lock for Benchmade, it would probably be like $400. I think we can all agree that that would be the case. But you have a completely ambidextrous design and a tail mounted clip, easily flipped around. So lefties and righties can have fun with this thing. I paid for this with my own money. So I would really get down hard on this and test this lock because I'm really curious to see how strong it is. But I don't have funding for this channel, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But we can do a little bit of spine whacking and batoning maybe. I'm just going to grab the knife here by the tail end. That's some pretty good whacks. Holds up really good. The action is fine for what it is. The blade was pretty darn close to center. I'd call that center. You can kind of smudge it left or right if you want. Mine was a little loose, so I had to tighten these up, and you might have to adjust the pivot a little bit. So if you're interested in this knife, let's say $185, I believe, is a great price for this knife. The problem is when you get into the secondary market, people are selling these for $285, $300, $325. And this is why I want people to watch this video, because this knife, absolutely do not pay that for this knife. Do not do it. There are so many better options and so many better knives you can get for $300. I would wait till this comes out on the buck of a month again, or wait till somebody's actually selling it for a reasonable price. I just really hope no one spends $300 on this knife. Yeah, it's a G&G Hawk collaboration. It's a completely unique locking system, but it's not $300 great. It's just absolutely not worth it. Knives I would compare this to that are ambidextrous and USA made, that are similarly, capable knives. I mean, you can get a Benchmade Freak for $200 with M4 steel, crossbar lock, switchable pocket clip, lefties or righties. Basically the same materials. You get a better blade steel M4. I'm not sure what these are now, but I got it for maybe $200. So very similarly priced. You got the Demcos, which are going to be a little bit more expensive, but I think you can get one of these for $300, if not just a tiny bit more. Good ambidextrous design, spine mounted lock like the Marksman lock here. So that would be another good option. And even a Spyderco. You've got a similarly operated locking system here. These if you're going to be spending $285, $300 on this, I would just get something else, is what I'm trying to say here. Don't do it. Don't spend $300 on the Buck Marksman. So that all being said, I really like this design. This is a great knife. I really like how unique it is. I like the idea that you can get a G&G Hawk design collaboration for such a cheap price. Personally, I like Buck knives. They have a good heat treat, the Boss heat treat. If you get one that's stamped Boss. If it's not stamped Boss, you're not getting the Boss heat treat. Pocket clip, super comfortable. This is a very comfortable knife. Very comfortable, very usable, and it's just a great design. Honestly, I recommend this knife if you can get it for the original price. The edge it came with was pretty good. The plunge grind isn't too terrible. It came with a little smile there, and yeah, you're kind of right on the edge of that plunge grind. So yeah, not the best, but whatever. We are going to do a little bit of batoning with this and just kind of show you what that looks like. That has significantly loosened our blade up. I don't know if you can hear that. So let me see if I can tighten this up a little bit. So I was able to tighten this pivot back up and get rid of the blade play for the most part. But it seems to be working okay. It's a little tighter than it was, but definitely not a hard use knife. Would this work as a self-defense tool and an EDC knife? Yeah. I would definitely not recommend real hard use just because of how easy. I barely batoned this thing and we lost. My blade loosened up significantly. And then I wanted to show you how weak the D10 is. Ultimately, it doesn't take a lot of force to fling this thing open. So those are some things to consider. We've got our Benchmade Freak. I've got to flick the Benchmade Freak quite a bit harder to get this blade to come out. So yeah, the detent on this is significantly, it's very weak. What the force holding this blade closed is not a lot. I consider these kind of weak too. You can fling these open really easy, but I'm doing the same amount of force and this thing is just launching open. It's a cool design. I like the lock. I feel like there is probably tons of ways they could improve this design. Is it worth $185? Yes. Is it cool and unique? Yes. Is it a good knife? I mean, it's okay. It's an okay EDC tool. It's an okay tactical tool. It's kind of novelty just because of how unique the lock is and all that good stuff. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on this. The whole knife seems kind of weak. I mean, I know you're not supposed to baton your folding knives, but it just doesn't seem that tough. Not as tough as they marketed it as. They were calling this like fixed blade strength in a folder. Definitely not the case. Detent's extremely weak. And there's just a lot of weaknesses with this system and how it's set up. So yeah, if you can get this for $185 or less and you just want to use this for EDC and potentially as a, you know, just a pocket knife, light duty pocket knife, this is fine. This is good. Definitely do not pay $300 for this knife. Please do not pay $300 for this knife. This knife is going to be $200, I think, roughly. At least it used to be. And this is significantly tougher than this knife. This is a very, very hard use knife. It's got a very tough steel, very good edge retention, very strong lock, a lock that's been around for a long time. Really not much else to say about this, guys. It's really cool. It's a little disappointing at the same time. It's fun. Will I use it? Yeah. I'll continue to EDC this knife every once in a while. I'll keep it. It's cool. It's unique. It's all that good stuff. But it's not the #1 pocket knife I'm going to go to. Like and subscribe and comment what you think about the Buck Marksman and how you feel about buck knives. And we'll see you guys on the next one.